So, who are you and what do you do?
Great. Thank you very much, Siddhi and Sonia, for setting this up. And first and foremost, these two girls, both Sonia and Siddhi, they've taken this initiative and starting this in St. Louis itself. And this is no small feat. So thank you very much for doing this. Just how young you guys are and being able to think about it and being able to encourage all the other girls, that's phenomenal for somebody like me to see it day in, day out. This is my second meeting with you guys, but I was very impressed with the first meeting as well on how thorough both of you have been able to think through this, and hopefully you'll be able to continue this. If there's any support that you need from me or my friends, definitely count us in for this. We see
Of course, yeah.
yes, and we definitely see a lot of gender gap as professionals in the industry, so your point very well taken. The question is, who am I and what do you do? I was thinking about this earlier this morning. Who am I? And I wear many hats, but the top hat that comes in my mind is I'm a learner. I constantly love to learn, no matter what it is, whether it is teaching my ninth grader or even my fourth grader about math and science. I love to learn. There's a lot of word problems that I've learned with them, right? So constant learning. I am trained as a statistical programmer, which is what my was in. Genetics is something that I got extremely interested in when I did the Bachelor's of Sciences from India. And I continued on the genetics degree, and then statistics was in need in the US. So if you come to the US for a graduate school program, if you're taking genetics, statistics is something that you have to learn. So I took that not knowing how big that industry will become and not knowing how big of a gap, talent gap there is within that field now than ever before. So I ended up in a really right field, but ended up in a field where, you guys will probably see in your science Olympiad team or science bowl team, right? There's not that many girls to begin with, right? And me and my friend have been coaching science bowl team for past 3 years. And for the first year for the first 2 years we had a girl on the team, but for the last year we didn't have any girl on the team. And if somebody were to tell me that girls are not as good as the boys in the science, that is absolutely wrong. I'm not willing to buy that, right? What I may be willing to buy is because they don't see their friends onto the board, onto the group. That's why they're not signing up for that, right? And so what do I do as a profession? 12.5% number that you quoted, Siddhi, on Sonia, sorry, on board. I am one of those 12.5%, right? I used to be the board of Enterprise Rent-A-Car, which is a $26 billion company. And then I have done a lot of board presentations. One thing I'll tell you, hopefully it's gonna change for you guys, for you girls, when you grow up, because you have a lot of growing up to do. What I see today and what I've been seeing for the past 20 years is when I walk into the room, I am the only female, right? Majority of the boardrooms, you talk about the top 3 companies, Google, Facebook, Amazon. I have been in, exec meetings with them. I am even there, I'm the only woman at the table. So yes, the gap is significant. I'm extremely optimistic that that's going to change, but it is up to you guys to change that. And one thing I'll definitely tell you is you may be the only one that would be setting the path for this. So don't wait for your friends to do it. Just do it. That is so much needed from you guys than anybody else. Boys do it because their friends are there. They're pulled in because their friends are there, right? And even if 1 or 2 of you will take that step and bring along one of your friends, that's going to change. But that has to come from within you. So I wouldn't say it's going to come easy either, but you have to take that step and move forward. The stuff that Siddhi, you and Sonia started, right? It's you took that initiative, you took that step forward, and now you have 13 other, and few I see couple, maybe one boy. I know Michael very well. So thank you, Michael Evad, for joining. But this is great, that you're bringing few other girls along this journey. And hopefully they'll stick around with you on this journey to move forward with it. But they need to become one of you as well, right? So as a profession, yes, I am in a STEM career. I used to lead the data, and I've been leading data and analytics teams for different Fortune 100 companies for the past 15 years. It's been extremely fulfilling job. I thoroughly enjoyed that. So learner, definitely. I'm a mother of 2 boys. And one of the things that I am very well aware of is, raise boys that are extremely respectful of girls or females, right? So that has been constant in me. But that's all about me.
Wow, it's really inspiring. All right, next question. What led you to pursue STEM?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I don't think when I was growing up, I had a choice not to pursue STEM, right? And that has a lot to do with my mom. My mom was my mother. She was in a science-related field, and she got a job when she hadn't finished her bachelor's degree, which is the next thing after her undergrad degree, right? So she finished school.
Right.
She was doing her undergrad degree, but then she had to quit her undergrad degree because her parents got her married to my dad. She loved science and math, but she had to quit everything overnight. So she quit that, and then she started a household, and the kids were born, and she was adamant on ensuring that her kids get the degrees or the education that she couldn't get. She has been an extremely determined woman and extremely ambitious. She's still, even today, she learns quite a bit. So it was her thought and idea and determination that my girls are going to go into we are 4 girls in the family. So our girls are going to go into STEM career just because she didn't have it. So I didn't have a choice not to go into STEM, right? But again, as I started going into, I started enjoying it thoroughly. None of my friends, literally none of my friends, the girls that I grew up with, were in STEM at all, right? I was the only one. There may be a few other girls out of my entire class. If there are 50 kids, we used to have a lot of kids in the class. If there are 50 kids in the class, there may be 12 or 13 girls in that classroom, right? So maybe 6 or 7% girls in the class doing science and math, right? So we did that, and then I developed a significant interest in science and math. I loved math when I was growing up, and that's how I ended up in STEM career. But then continued. One thing leads to another. That will always be, even in your lifetime. If you start doing something, it'll open up doors for so many other things. And if you have that ambition to learn, no matter which doors are going to open for you, that's going to take you in a direction that you will start enjoying yourself as well. So you have to carve your own path on where you want to go, as long as you know that. And learning is not going to come easy, right? No matter what you do, what you put your heart to it, life is tough, and it'll be tough. So I'm not going to here tell you that STEM was the easiest thing. STEM is probably not the easiest thing. But there's so many things that you learn as a science and math. It's all interconnected, right? Science and math, your physics, your chemistry, your mathematics, they're all extremely interconnected, right? And the more you study and the more you grow within that field, you start to learn more about the interconnections between all these subjects, because at the end of the day, it makes everything around a science explains everything in my mind, right? There are other things that are there to explain it, but science gives you a lot more freedom to operate what's around you.
Wow. Yeah. So what makes you excited to go to work? Like, what's the most rewarding part about being a woman in STEM, or being a woman in STEM in your field?
Yeah, no, I was thinking about this as well. What makes me excited to go to work? There are multiple things one can say. The STEM, the field of STEM is changing. That's one field that's constantly changing very rapidly, almost every day. Every 3 to 4 months, there's new inventions, new discoveries that are happening, right? And if you're a constant learner, you will see what those discoveries or what those inventions are, and being able to apply it to your field has been very rewarding, right? There are things that I've been able to do in my career that has led to $1 billion plus product launches. The patents that I have a number of patents with my previous company, and each one of those patents have led to more than $1 billion product revenue for the company, right? But these are the products that have also provided sustainable environment for the world globally, right? Working with people I find extreme pleasure in working with people, right? And and that has been, if you ask me, that has been extremely rewarding, right? Working with you guys on this, getting to know both of you, you guys are setting the stage. So that has been, out of this, that has been an extremely rewarding experience for me, is just getting to know more people and getting to know what excites them, and see how I can channel that in a manner that can be fruitful, not just for her, not just for us, but for a broader community as well.
What are some of your biggest surprises when you first entered your field, or just being a woman in the STEM field?
Yeah. No, I was thinking about that one as well. And this is quite an interesting one because there's a number of surprises. First of all, I never thought that there's so less fear for women, especially in a corporate world. I don't know much about the academic world because I have never been in academia, but in corporate industry, at a senior positions, you just do not see women. But one of the biggest surprises, I wish I would have known about this. Now I know, and it took me a while to know this, is, you quickly become a role model for others without realizing that you have become a role model, right? And when that happens, then you got to start behaving. Sorry. You should start behaving in a manner that helps others to follow that trend of the role model, right? And we don't realize, as a leader in STEM field, I didn't realize for a very long time that I was a role model for a lot of women within the professional career that I led. And there were people who were coming to me for mentoring, and I would mentor them. But again, not realizing that some of the things that I was doing, they were seeing that as a role model. And those are probably not the best thing. Like early in my career, I was a workhorse, right? And managing kids on the home front and professionally at the work, I was never able to let go of anything. And that essentially became a role model for the companies. Oh, she can do it. Then it was the right expectation for others to do it as well. Whereas I feel like I set the wrong expectation. I could do it, but that's not right, that everybody should be able to do it. So even in this case, and this is to both of you as the Velociti co-founders, right? You will soon become a role model that others would like to follow, right? And for all the middle schoolers here on this call, you guys are the role models for the younger generations, for the kids younger than you. You don't even realize that you are the role model, right? So keep that in mind as you grow towards your career. No matter what you do, you will be role model for somebody. So at least for somebody, and this is something I tell my son as well. I have a 10-year-old. No, I have a 14-year-old and 10-year-old. My 14-year-old, no matter what he does, will always be a role model for 10-year-old. But my 14-year-old has hard time understanding that, right? But always constantly bear that in mind. It's not just true for today, it will be true for rest of your lives as well, that you will become a role model for somebody. So how do you set the stage to be the right role model? that if you ask me, that has been one of the biggest surprises for me, that I didn't realize it was that I had become role model for so many younger professional women, and not just in St. Louis, but in the industry as well. I do a lot of keynote speeches in Silicon Valley and Boston, Massachusetts as well. And I see women wanting to follow the trend, which is great, which gives you, which gives you a path to move others along with you, but you have to realize that you are there and you need to pave the path for others as well.
Do you ever feel like you were kind of pushed to be a role model at a younger age, or that you had to be a lot more mature at first, starting at a younger age in your professional career because you were the only woman and that you had to carry your weight or like prove yourself to the other males in the office?
Always. Even today, I would say it's the same. That does not change. And that's for good as well. That's for good as well. But you are able to do that as long as you're extremely confident about yourself. To me, when I think about myself, I have that almost to a flaw. That yes, I am extremely confident. Sometimes I know I'm wrong, but I'm still very confident, right? So yes, confidence is needed, but it shouldn't be based off of fluff. You got to know your stuff as well. You really got to work hard towards who you have become, and being a learner is going to go a long way.
Wow,
But
yeah.
that's true. You always have to, especially in a STEM career as a professional woman, you always have to fight for that seat at the table. Even if you get it, right, then your ambition will be to get to the next table, right? That never ends.
Wow. And what's something that you wish you knew before you went into a STEM career? You kind of touched on this already, but is there anything else that you wanted to share?
Wish you knew before going into a STEM career. Can't think of much here. I wish I would have known how fulfilling this has been personally for me. Arts and sciences, I am sure, is an extremely fulfilling career, but I have never done it, so I don't know that, right? STEM career has been extremely fulfilling for me because I have been able to see the difference I'm able to make, not just within my professional life, but also community-wide as well. Community meaning being able to participate in some of the stuff that schools does, right? Either it's middle school or high school or elementary school as well. And having that passion for STEM career, I've had some of the discussions with, I haven't done it with Clayton School, but I have had discussions about STEM with Ladue Middle School principal and assistant principal, Reed Elementary, which is the elementary school. So I feel like I'm able to at least contribute at some level and being able to help shape the community as well, which I think is absolutely needed. And I have been able to done it not just by myself, but as a family and with my friends too, right?
Well, right, so our next part, so thank you so much for answering those questions so thoroughly. It was really an inspiring speech that you gave. Now I'm going to open it up to our audience. So if you guys have any questions for Dr. Gupta, please feel free to answer, or you can type it in the chat if you don't want to speak or show your face on the camera.
We would recommend that you maybe use I know there are certain reactions, give it a thumbs up or I don't know if they still have the raising hand thing, just so that we can go one at a time. But yeah, if you don't feel comfortable actually asking your question, you can drop it in the chat and we can ask it for you.
Yeah, you can ask us privately, or you can drop it into the public chat. Either one's good. Oops.
Okay, I see Allison and Claudia, so I'm gonna put them on the spot. And what question do you have, Allison and Claudia? It's good to see both of you together.
Hi. Well, one of my questions was we learned about STEM in school a lot, but I kind of forgot what the STEM stands for.
Very good question. Very good. I wish one of us would have explained, but that's fine. Siddhi or Sonia, do you want to answer that?
Yeah. So STEM, if you want to like know the acronym of STEM, it stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So basically any job that falls into that category is considered a STEM career. And that's where we see a lot of the gender divide between men and women, because usually a lot more men are at a faster rate joining those jobs compared to women. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
Anything else?
Alina Krasinski, I'm so sorry if I butchered your name, can definitely relate to my name being butchered, asked, what are you doing on a day-to-day basis?
Day-to-day basis in terms of STEM? Or
yeah, like in your job, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, my job. Yeah. So, let me think how to explain it. So on day-to-day, I have I had a fairly large team. So my team was roughly 300 people on the team. And so the team was divided into multiple groups. And I'll tell you what each one of my groups did. And the entire focus was for the team has been to build data and analytics, which is, all of you, I'm assuming, know what data and what analytics is, you can predict stuff based on data that you get, right? So their job is to use analytics for building better prediction tools for the company, right? So one team was responsible for simply doing all the prediction algorithm, writing all the prediction algorithms. One team was responsible for software engineering piece of building, a connected car platform, which is, if Sonia gets into her car, then on a platform, on a software piece, sitting somewhere else, I would know what time Sonia got onto the car and where she drove and when she came back and how much gas she used, how much mileage she put on the car, if she hit any road bump, if she hit any stop sign. So that's a software engineering platform that the team was building. Another team was responsible for training 100,000 employees on what data and analytics does for them. So just teaching them how to run some simple queries. I'm sure some of you are trying to learn Python by now. If not, then I'm sure if you're interested, you will start learning it very soon. So this team was responsible for training 100,000 employees on Python or some of the software engineering skill set, right? And then one team was responsible on partnering with different large companies where their product can be better used for our company. So multiple things, but on a day-to-day basis, I attended tons and tons of meetings, did board presentations almost every week or every alternate week, sat down with CEO twice a week, 1.5 hours every week. And that used to be very brutal because she does ask tons and tons of questions on everything. What else? And then email, a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails. So that was my day-to-day.
Wow, seems busy. Wow.
And I traveled traveled globally quite a bit, which I'm sure Allison and Claudia are very familiar with because they used to come to my house all the time. And
where have you gone? That sounds so cool.
Oh, all over the US and outside the country as well.
Whoa. It's cool. So Sonali asks, what is the best way to motivate girls towards a STEM career at elementary, middle school, or high school level? Good question. That's a really good question.
That's a really good question. Best way to motivate. I think it's more about, St. Louis does a lot of stuff related to STEM and getting kids involved in that. Like, getting kids involved into, there's a science, what is it? Science fair. St. Louis has a science fair on a regular basis. I don't know how many of you participate in that, but participating in that gives you, gives you a window to get to see what other kids are doing, right? Again, spending time, I think, I don't know how many parents are doing that. My friends, I know for sure, are doing that with their kids, because most of my friends, again, all the moms that I hang out with, they're very science and math focused. So they are spending time with their kids on science and math. But it's doing exercises, helping them, you like something only if you get to the grasp of how things work, right? So giving kids freedom to, break things. It could be your broken hair dryer that you can give to one of your kids to see how the motor and the engine within that hair dryer works. But at least, in my mind, I think hands-on will definitely get them motivated. And it doesn't take an army of girls to be motivated towards any of this. If you have got one that is motivated, then another one will come and another one will start to come. So just somebody has to lead the way for others to start following. And be it a middle schooler or be it high school, but it has to be one or two that starts to pull others along.
Yeah, and there were plenty of clubs at least in our middle school. We went to Wydown Middle School. There was a Science Olympiad team, and there was also a math club, and I was in both of those, and it was really fun, and it made me really interested in different science or STEM topics. So
that's a good point. If there are clubs, then definitely join one of those clubs. If you're not able to, one thing I would definitely say, which I don't think it's going to end at any point of your career, always push yourself to the limits. That may sound tough, but you got to do it, because once you start doing it, if you start to push yourself a little bit, it has to come from within you, right? But if it starts to push yourself a little bit, science is beautiful. There's so many things in science and math, and it's all interconnected. So if you don't understand, then it will become frustrating. It become very frustrating. But if you start to understand that, and one thing I'll also tell you, if any one of you ever have any questions about science or math, I am here. I will give you my phone number. And I've got friends who are very willing and happy to help out as well. So if any one of you have any questions about anything, and Claudia and Allison have known me long enough that I'm sure they can attest to this as well, but definitely reach out to me. If you need my number, I'm here.
nice.
Meva asks, did you face any discriminations in school as a woman in STEM? And if so, how did you overcome it?
I don't know if you want to know the answer. But it's not in elementary only, honey. It goes to, I see discrimination even today. There are jobs that, at the end of the day, it depends on how you want to see it, right? But there are jobs that I have applied for and wanted to get, but my entire panel was a male panel, and I was the only diverse minority candidate, extremely qualified for the job. But that's me. That's the overconfident Anju, right? But I was qualified for the job and I didn't get it. Nobody could explain me why I didn't get it, right? But this is going to happen. That's the reality of how things work, right? And but yeah, discrimination will be there. It's just that, are you able to bounce? I think the bigger question here is how quickly you are able to bounce back from disappointments and from failures, because failures and disappointments are the things that's going to build you, right? It's not unfortunately, it's not being spoken very much, but there's a book, you know, I'll have to send you guys the name of that book, but there's a book that talks about, the book is all about failed scientists, right? And there are many scientists who have failed throughout their, so Mendel, all of you have heard about Mendel, right? Gregor H. Mendel or Gregor John Mendel, the heredity guy, right? All of you have heard about it. He was a great scientist, but he miserably failed in his entire career because he wrote that article. Nobody believed him. He died. 100 years later, Hugo de Vries was another scientist who said Gregor Mendel was the guy who actually did all that 100 years ago, and he was right. So now we give him credit. But again, you know, if you are wanting to get in STEM career, then definitely there will be disappointments, but it's how quickly you bounce back from those disappointments and from failures that's going to build you as a person and as a professional leader as well. And that's, I think that's key to becoming a good leader, is, you know, how you treat people, how you work with your peers, so how you work with each other, right? And if you fail, that you're gonna fail. It's not a big deal, right? You quickly bounce back and figure out what you learned from that failure.
Absolutely. Are there any other questions, or are we ready to move on to our activity?
Yeah, we'll wait a few minutes for any other remaining questions, and after that, we're going to move on to our activity.
You know, this has been a very interesting, you know, discussion for me, at least. It's good to see so many young kids on this, and our future is absolutely bright, very bright.
I hope so, yeah.
I don't think that we're getting any more questions, so
Yeah.
Is everybody else ready to move on to our activity for today? Yes. Okay, awesome.
I think you can share screen with the famous scientist presentation. Wait, to the
Should
Yeah,
I?
hold on, before you share, so let me talk a little bit about the activity. So
right, yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about STEM career, and we talked about STEM career in for girls. And I was thinking about the activity, and I talked to my kids, and I talked to my husband as well, and I have family at home, so I talked to them as well. And then after some discussions, they suggested me some detective games, word clouds, and things like that, which all sounded very good. But then, you know, the one that we are doing for you is a little bit different than the ideas that I got. But it's a concoction of all the ideas that I got. So you guys have studied a lot about scientists. My first question is, can you name 5 male scientists that you've heard about? And let's see how much time it takes for you to give me 5 male scientists.
Albert Einstein.
1.
Leave it in the
What else?
Charles Darwin.
Okay, that 2.
Come on, guys, I know you know one. Newton's.
3.
Linus is Newton.
So I got 3.
Thomas Edison.
Yes, Thomas Edison, absolutely.
Edison. 4.
One more.
One more, guys.
Come on. Galileo, very good. Okay, so we got our 5 male scientists. It took us less than a minute, or maybe a minute on the dot. Okay?
38 seconds.
Wow, it's
Having it.
Okay, let's see how long this one will take. Give me a name of 5 female scientists. We got Marie Curie, 1.
Vera Rubin. Yeah.
2.
No Googling, by the way.
Sonia or Siddhi, you know any?
The 2 that I know have already been said, so I'm like sweating. I don't know.
Emmy Nether. I don't know who she is, but okay.
We could name the speakers that we're gonna speak on like August and our next speakers at Velocity.
I mean, I guess Rosalind Franklin.
Yeah, so 4.
One more, guys.
Yeah, we just have to think of one more.
Okay, so here, the
Jane
thing.
Goodall. How
Who?
about Jane Goodall?
Jane Goodall.
Yeah, oh my gosh, what? That's, how did I not think of that? I completely forgot.
So it took you less than a minute to give me 5 male scientists. It took you easily 2 minutes to give me 4, and maybe the 5th one was lingering over there, 5 female scientists. And we are going back to 100 years. Don't tell me there are not 5 top female scientists in the last 100 years. It's just that we haven't been taught about them. It's not in our books. We don't hear about them. We don't read about them unless you make an effort to know who they are. And they are my source of inspiration for sure. They're your sources of inspiration as well. So the activity today is related to famous scientists. Okay, so let's go to our activity. Sonia?
Yeah, I can.
Cool,
Share.
I can.
Are you gonna?
Wait. Or Sid, do you want to share your screen or should I?
Sure, I'll do that.
Cool.
Okay, so I will show you images. You have to guess the scientist. Okay, so let's go. Is that good with everybody?
Yep, that's good.
Okay. Who is he?
Albert Einstein. If no one's going to say it.
Yep, click it.
Albert Einstein.
Good job. Next, please. Who is he? Anybody?
Think the car. Or maybe I'm wrong too. That would be embarrassing.
Think of the car.
Yeah, okay, cool. What car does David Dobrik have?
Okay, click on it. Tesla, perfect.
There
Yes.
you go.
This guy, you cannot forget this guy, Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Is it working? Uh-oh. There we go.
Who is he? This may be a hard one. Go to the next. Click.
Oh, Elise is Galileo. Good job.
Yeah.
Very good job. My God.
Y'all are too good at this.
Yes. He has a telescope in hand. You guys know him. Anybody?
Think physics, maybe?
Is he Isaac Newton?
Yep.
Yes.
Isaac
Very
Newton?
good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yes.
Yep.
Who is he? You guys named him a little bit ago.
Darwin?
Oh.
Yep. Awesome. Oh my
Yeah.
God. You are killing it, Claudia.
Oh.
That's awesome.
Who is she? So those were the 5 male scientists. Now we're going to go into 5 female scientists. Marie Curie. Yes, that is cool.
Oh. Y'all are good at this.
Great job.
That was Mary Curie.
Who is this? Somebody named her. She died at the age of 32. She is my hero, if you ask me. I have an entire book on her. She is my hero. She died at the age of 32. She probably did the best invention in her times, but
Mary Curie.
never got credit for that. Who did you say?
Mary Curie.
No,
Oh, that was the last person, but good guess.
You can click on her name. Yes, that is Franklin, Rosalind Franklin. So all of you guys should go read about Rosalind Franklin. Extremely interesting story. Who is she? You'll know her name. Click on her name. Ada Lovelace.
Yes.
Yeah. So read about her as well if you don't. And she was never known a whole lot for her work in the computers, but now, you know, there's a lot of talk about Ada Lovelace because of the gender gap that we see now. Everybody has talked about Ada Lovelace a lot because she was the one who started it all. Go to the next one. I think this is my last one. Who is she? She's another one of my famous heroes, which is related to my field. Have you guys heard of jumping jeans?
I think. I haven't heard of that, sorry.
Hopping jeans, jumping jeans?
I feel like I should know what that is.
Yeah, Barbara McClintock. Yep. Yeah, who is she? And by the way, my son made these slides for me.
Oh,
I told
very
him
well made.
5 male scientists, give me 5 female scientists. Anybody? No?
Do you want to just reveal it?
Yeah. Lisa Meitner. Okay, so I don't even know about her. My son made it, so I'll have to ask my son. So, but Google Lisa Meitner. I was wondering who that is. She's probably one of his famous scientists. So that's the exercise for today. I would definitely encourage you to go read about some of these female scientists. They have done significant contributions. The movie Hidden Figures, how many of you have watched it? Perfect. That's a great movie to watch.
Add it to the recommendations. So if you have anything else to add, that'd be great. But we're going to close our meeting here. So thank you guys so much for coming to our first meeting. This was really fun. If you have any questions, you can email us at velocity.stem@gmail.com. We have our phone number down there, and you can visit our website for future meetings and more information about our speakers. You can follow us on YouTube, where we'll be posting the replay of this meeting. You can follow our Instagram and Twitter.
Our Twitter and Instagram handles are both Velocity STEM. Also,